Okay, I'm going to work this next problem, part B right here. Same process. Start by factoring the denominator. Ooh, this one's one of those that we call the AC method. So I may have to run over here and do some work. Remember, we take this problem 2x squared plus 3x minus 9, and we temporarily change it into just x squared plus 3x minus 2 times 9, which is 18. That's why we call it the AC method, because we're going to multiply A times C. We get this temporary problem, we factor it the easy way. We just make a list of the factors of 18, negative 18, that are going to combine together to give us 3. So 1 and 18, it would actually be negative 1, positive 18, negative 2 and 9, negative 3 and 6. And I think that's it. So you recognize, or hopefully you recognize real quickly, that these two right here are the pair that we need because they multiply together to give you negative 18, and they combine together, a positive 6 and a negative 3, to give you a positive 3. So this factors x minus 3, this factors x plus 6. Now we quickly have to remember that this is the AC method, so we have to go back and divide both sides by 2. Why? Because this was multiplied by 2. If it simplifies, you simplify. If it doesn't, then swing this up out in front. This one does simplify. It just becomes x plus 3. Where did the 3 come from? 6 divided by 2. All right, so this bottom denominator factors like that. Now remember, one of the things that the reason that we're doing this, we're setting these, we're finding the restrictions. So we set them equal to 0, set it equal to 0, and solve for x. Add 3, divide by 2. Add 3, divide by 2, minus 3 from both sides. And this becomes the restrictions. Our domain cannot include 1.5 and negative 3. Now back over here, we're just going to leave this in its factored form. It could be that one of these will factor out with the numerator. The numerator is not a hard one to factor. We just need factors of negative 15, numbers that multiply together, because we didn't have a number in front. So numbers that give us negative 15. Numbers that multiply together to give us negative 15 are 1 and negative 15, 3 and negative 5. Now they're going to combine together to give me a negative 2. These two right here are the pair that I want because they multiply together to give me negative 15, and they combine together to give me negative 2. So this becomes x plus 3 and x minus 5. And we see that these two do divide out, cancel if you want to use that word, x minus 5 over 2x minus 3. This is the simplified version. Don't forget, these are the restrictions. It doesn't matter that those canceled out. It's still a restriction. We'll learn why in a few lessons. Okay, I think I've got enough time to do this one. So I'm going to come over here and factor the denominator. The denominator is 3 minus x. Anytime my x is negative, factor out a negative 1. Why? Well, it makes it prettier. We like our x's to be positive, and so we factor out a negative 1 just because we're used to writing our x's like that. So what does that mean? That means you take this factor and you set it equal to 0. These are for our restrictions. You take x minus 3, which is the factor you can set equal to 0. Add 3 to both sides. You get x equals 3 but the restriction says x can't be 3 because that would cause my denominator to be 0. So the restrictions on the domain are x can't be 3. Now let's factor the top. It's just a binomial. It's not the difference of two squares. It looks like it does have a GCF. This term has an x, this term has an x. So I'm going to factor out the x. And that's going to leave me x squared minus 9. Okay, that's going to factor again. The denominator just stays whatever it is right now. What do I mean it's going to factor again? You recognize that. What is that? The difference of two squares. I'm going to tell you again, if you don't know how to recognize that's a difference of two squares, then you need to Google factoring the difference of two squares and see what it is. Okay, we've been doing it all school year long. So we've got this factored. Now we've got an x minus 3 on top and an x minus 3 on bottom. Those will divide out. And so we're left with x on top with an x plus 3 over -1. Now we can leave it like that, but that's probably not how they're going to leave it if it's a multiple choice question. What they'll do is bring this -1 up and make that become -x, x plus 3. That's the simplified form. And it still has this restriction, x can't be 3. Even though that one canceled out, it is still going to be a restriction that we have. Again, you'll understand again on another day. Okay, I hope that helps.